A few days ago, I was browsing the New World subreddit. New World has made some changes to how PvP scaling works thanks to player feedback from the alpha, and one post really stuck out to me, discussing how open world or unrestricted PvP in MMOs works so differently to PvP in any other medium. So let's discuss the balancing issues around PvP within the MMORPG genre, how it faces different challenges, and how to regulate it according to other PvP games. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Strife. Regular viewers will know that I'm a fan of PvE over PvP. I like player versus environment, taking on bosses, dungeons, puzzles, challenges. I've spoken before about the effects that hardcore full loot PvP will have on the longevity of an MMORPG game. But in this video, I'd like to discuss something a bit different. The difficulties in translating a progression-based power gaining level system as seen in the traditional MMORPG design, and how you can translate that, or the difficulties in translating that, over to a fair and balanced PvP system. Before we begin, consider dropping a like on the video or subscribing to the channel for more analysis stuff. Ring the bell for all the future notifications. As usual, a massive thank you to the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep the channel alive. More on this at the end. For now, let's begin. The MMORPG is a progression-based gaming genre. You start from a low level, you play, and you progress, becoming a high level. The progression is tracked in various ways. More health, more mana, more damage, more skills and abilities, more areas of the map open to you, more dungeons, more items and equipment, and all of these equal more power. Generally speaking, the longer you play an MMORPG, the more powerful you become. But it's how the power is earned and then kept that causes issues with balancing in PvP. Whenever I speak to PvP MMO players, and I always say to them, so you mean the longer you play, the more powerful you get? They tend to say, yes, that's how it works. But then I say, hang on, why don't you get more skillful if you play for longer? Not just power, not just raw numbers or raw stats. What about learning how to play your class, learning how to use your abilities and how to use your moves? Could time spent in the game not just reward you with skill instead of raw power? And that's one of the big issues. MMORPGs focus on power being much more important than skill. As you level up and gain items and weapons, your stats will increase. Your base health or the standard damage you do will increase along with it. These are straight up numerical values increasing. Even if your skill level doesn't change, your power will do, because the numbers behind the scenes are just higher, and they will remain higher. When a level 100 player and a level 1 player meet and battle, the level 100 will likely win, because they will have access to higher weapons and better armor and have way higher numbers. And you might be nodding along and agreeing with this situation. Which is weird, because the MMORPG is one of the only genres of gaming that allows a player to increase in power and then battle against a player of vastly inferior power level due to less time played and consider it completely fair. Let's refer back to the original New World post, the one I saw on Reddit, and then let's look at other player versus player examples, both in games and in real-world sports. Because fans of competition in general are looking at MMORPG competition, especially player versus player, and wondering what the hell is wrong with us and why we are balancing our games in this archaic, absurd way. Consider the following situations. I'm a chess player. I've played chess for several years, so if someone who's playing chess for a month wants a game with me, I'll happily play against them. But they're not allowed to use the queen, the bishops, or the castles, and all of my pawns are also queens. You might think this sounds unfair, but remember, I've been playing longer. I've gathered more power. I've earned this. Yes, I'm going to destroy this person because my pieces are vastly superior, but if they want to be good at the game, they should just play as long as me and earn the power. I deserve this. I've trained in kickboxing for several years, but I've also trained in the use of some classical weapons. So if someone wants to kickbox against me, that's fine, but I get to use a sword, because I've been doing it longer. And if they complain, well, they shouldn't fight me. I'm not going to give up the advantage I've earned in the sake of your balance. Why would I even bother gaining an advantage if I can't use it against everyone? It's totally fair because you could train in the sword as well and bring it. You've just chosen not to. If you want to play a game of Warhammer 40,000 against me, that's absolutely fine. We just both bring every single model we own. Doesn't matter if it's not balanced. We've bought them, we've painted them, we own them. Surely we should be allowed to use them. Those situations are, of course, exaggerations, they're hyperbole, but the idea at the core of them remains the same. In any player versus player situation, balancing is key. Making sure there is fair chance for victory on any side of a conflict is part of the crux of drama. Drama is conflict, and PvP players want drama. Drama is what drives almost anything forward, the desire to play more. And if the conflict is unfairly skewed, with one side or another having an advantage, the drama is lessened once the victory is almost written before the match even starts. The more traditional hardcore MMORPGs are about gathering and consolidating power, so when you go and fight someone, you can use all of this you've gathered regardless of the balance of that situation. Fairness in conflict should mean that victory is not decided by an imbalance of power, but instead the correct use of skillful tactics with a balance of power between all combatants. Basically, you should start with roughly what your opponent has as well, and victory should be decided based on who uses the resources they have the best. Using pure power to decide the victor, or to make the victor incredibly obvious before competition even starts, is antithetical to the spirit of competition. Almost every game that focuses exclusively on PvP content also has checks and balances to keep the battles balanced. Magic the Gathering has various formats to limit the power level of available cards. League of Legends has the brackets. Boxing has weight classes. Other PvP sports understand that balance matters. So when an MMORPG player says PvP should be free for all and everything should be allowed, they often don't realise how crazy they sound to everyone else who engages in other balanced forms of competition. And this is often why non-PvP players don't want to get involved. They see the balance is against them. So how do we fix this? How do we get non-PvP players interested in PvP? It's actually quite simple. You just make it skill-based instead of power-based. Focus on the spirit of competition and not the generation and consolidation of power over other players. Some people say, oh, you should only PvP at max level with max equipment. And okay, but do you know what you're doing when you say that we should PvP at a specific level with specific items? You're actually trying to balance the fight. If you're arguing it would be more fun if it was balanced, then yes, I agree with you. So why does making it more fun require such a huge time investment from the lower level players? Why is balanced fun something players have to slog through the unbalanced curb stomp part to experience? If a max power player attacks a mid power player, they're likely going to win. And if the response is, well, the mid-level player should just get stronger, you're advocating for balance and fairness. But you're demanding it be achieved by the lower-level player working harder and dedicating time simply because the higher-level player already has. The changes New World made it so higher-level players have more of an advantage over low-level players in PvP. Now previously, PvP scaling made it so a level 40 player fighting a level 20 player was actually relatively balanced, and this was annoying higher-level players, because lower-level players were sometimes winning due to skill, and higher level players felt they should have an advantage in fights due to playing more. Higher level players felt they were owed the advantage they had earned, and this advantage should be enough to make the skill of the other players less relevant. The changes to open world PvP have actually promoted a large amount of players to say they will now simply turn PvP mode off until they reach max level, because within the spirit of balance and fair competition, there's no point PvPing at anything other than max. There's no incentive to PvP if you are unbalancing the experience. People think that I don't like PvP in MMORPGs because I don't like PvP or I dislike competition. The exact opposite is true. I am extremely competitive. I adore player versus player challenges in games that have been designed around it. I love the cut and thrust of a balanced debate. I love the battle when it starts fairly on both sides. Some of my favourite games ever are player versus player experiences. Unreal Tournament, Command & Conquer, Magic the Gathering, Warhammer 40k, Burnout 3, chess. I love competition. And I love one player taking on another player at a game that all the players love. And I love it most when it's balanced and fair. The problem with PvP in MMORPGs is because of the progressive and consolidating nature of gaining power in an MMO, the progression is forced from the RPG into the PvP, and it unbalances the whole experience. And unbalanced fights aren't something I enjoy. If you are a PvP player and you are happy that you can gain power and then fight those weaker than you and battle with the fight unbalanced in your favour, You don't actually enjoy PvP, you enjoy victory, and you like it when the victory is all but guaranteed. If you're looking at your gained power and thinking, I earned this, so I should be able to use it unchecked and unbalanced, you're saying you don't want fair, skillful, tactical fights. You want to bully people. A PvP player who is happy they can use a huge power imbalance in their favour is a bully. Pure and simple. If you think, like me, that both chess players should have access to the same pieces no matter who's played longer and the match should be decided by skill instead of unfair armies, if you believe in power level brackets to balance the strength of players within competition games, if you believe a fight should start without the results being obvious already, then you are a fan of fair competition. I am right there with you. Skill over power. And until the MMORPG PvP crowd can understand that, the genre will forever be in the shadow of other, more balanced forms of PvP. Thank you for watching. Another massive thank you to the supporters on Patreon and Twitch for keeping the channel alive. You can support from only £1 a month. Check the video description for links to the Patreon, Twitch, Twitter and Discord. And as always, have a great day.